Are we witnessing the downfall of Taylor Swift? Immediately when the album released, the reactions from fans were very mild. I listened to the album at 12 a.m. when it came out, and I made sure to write down everything that I was thinking while listening to the tracks. I remember the first thing that jumped out at me was that the album was 41 minutes long and it is 12 tracks. If you look at her discography, 12 tracks is not a lot for a Taylor Swift album. Obviously, we know this is one of the first albums that has come out a year after the other one. She has followed a very strict cycle where she keeps 2 years in between albums, obviously excluding Folklore and Evermore. You can really tell that Taylor puts a lot of time and effort and work in between her albums, making sure that each one feels new, different, and really making sure that, the songs themselves are unique and nothing like the first album before. But even albums like Speak Now, that were 14 tracks, was an hour and 6 minutes long. I felt like this album was just missing something. As soon as I heard it, I was like, this is truly something unique because it is so different from her previous works. The opening track was The Fate of Ophelia. I didn't hate it. It wasn't the best song that I'd ever heard, but for the opening of this album, I think that this track did carry it and would have been better if the other songs were not as bad as they were. I liked how The Fate of Ophelia mentioned eldest daughter, kind of like how in Tortured Poets when Fortnite, the opening track, featured Florida, which was another track on the album. I did like the chorus. I felt that this song was kind of shaping this new sound. It was nothing like we had seen in Tortured Poets. It was nothing like we had seen in Midnights. It was something very new, a new world that Taylor was opening. I gave The Fate of Ophelia an 8 out of 10. Then we got to Elizabeth Taylor. I think the same with this track, that this would have been a good track if the other ones had not dragged it down. I gave Elizabeth Taylor an 8 out of 10. I liked the tone and kind of how smooth the piece was. It sounded very much like Folklore, like too close to Folklore. And the chorus is kind of nice too. The third track, Opalite, is really what was like, what is this album? I gave Opalite a 6 out of 10. I just thought that song was not the best song. I did not think that it kind of mixed with these other songs and created this world of the life of a showgirl. I liked kind of the rhythm and the melody of the piece, but this is when the album started to feel repetitive. I was like, I've heard this same song. I've heard this same drum beat. I've heard the same melody twice in the songs I just listened to. For track 4, it was Father Figure. Now, I have not heard the original song Father Figure. Obviously, I know how it goes, but I have not listened to the entire thing. And it was also kind of cool that Taylor was sampling another artist, which I don't really think she's done before. And I wrote down, it sounds cool, but it also is repetitive. It feels like the first 4 tracks. It feels like this album is just one drum beat and then a bunch of other things stacked on top of it. It kind of did remind me of Clara Bow, where she is talking about kind of taking people under her wing. I thought this song could maybe be about the Taylor daughters, like Gracie, Sabrina, maybe even Olivia. She's basically, saying I will take you under my wing and I will guide you through this industry. I gave Father Figure a 7.5 out of 10. Track 5 was called Eldest Daughter. Obviously, the track 5s are supposed to be the most emotional pieces of the album. I did like how it kind of was steering away a little bit from the first 4 tracks. We had some piano, we had some other things, but overall, it did feel pretty repetitive. I felt like there was kind of a nice message in that, talking about her new life and Travis. I gave Eldest Daughter a 6.7 out of 10. Track 6 was called Ruin the Friendship. She did mention memes. There were a lot of weird, like, things. She was just kind of saying stuff. Like, I felt like there wasn't a ton of lyricism in this track. I was very confused. I was led to believe that this song was going to be about Blake Lively. I did like this one a little more than the others. It felt unique. Still, though, it felt very two-dimensional. This entire album, I think, felt very two-dimensional. It was very flat. I gave Ruin the Friendship a 7 out of 10. Track number 7 is actually romantic. From when she announced the album, I had already seen things, and I had thoughts in my head too, that this song was going to be about Charlie XCX and be almost a response to the song Sympathy is a Knife that came out in 2024. And let you know, Sympathy is a Knife is not a diss track. Go listen to it. Listen to the lyrics. That is not a diss track. That is simply feeling insecure about yourself. But in Actually Romantic, Taylor is saying, oh, you must be in love with me. That's actually romantic. People have said that there are some other things going on behind the scenes. Now, I do like this track because it was unique. It was something different. Even though I do not agree with the message she is saying in this song, this track was something that the album needed. It was kind of this life being brought to the album. And, you know what, I do like the song. I think that if you can kind of relate the song to your own life or kind of interpret the lyrics your own way, you can also like the song more. Although I do like the track, I rated it a 9 out of 10. Track number 8 was called Wishlist. Immediately when it opened, I was thinking, oh, I think she's talking about the Kardashians. She talks a lot about, you know, country clubs and plastic surgery and things like that. And I'm like, oh, she's talking about the Kardashians. And then I even wrote, I think the whole meaning of this song is to say that she's separate from them and she just wants to settle down with Travis. And she even talks about having kids in this. But again, this track was so two-dimensional. It was so just words on a page. Like, it wasn't even interesting. It didn't even give us, like, an insight to anything. It's just her talking about this. I did rate Wishlist an 8 out of 10 on the first listen because I do think it was kind of unique. Track number 9 is called Wood. There was lots of mixed things of what this song was going to be like. I do agree this song was pretty unique. I liked the song on a first listen. I rated it a 9 out of 10. And it was kind of a freaky song. Like, I wrote in my notes, it sounds freaky, because there was just some really weird things. Like, how did we go from Tortured Poets Department to talking about Travis's male parts? Like, that is in 1 year. Track number 10 was called Cancelled. I rated it a 9 out of 10. I like this song, okay? I like it. People are, like, going completely ballistic on this song, and I will say the message I do not agree with. And I will say the message of this song, or at least like the theorized message of this song, I do not agree with whatsoever. But I did like this song. It sounded very like Reputation kind of combined with some of her older works. I said it sounds like a dystopian rebel like anthem, like something you'd hear in almost the Hunger Games. And, you know, at first you're thinking, oh, it's going to be about, like, her getting canceled, or it's going to be about, like, something like that, her being canceled for doing something. No, it's basically about her friends being canceled, and the main thing people are pointing out is Brittany Mahomes being a Trump supporter, and Taylor and Brittany being very visibly close and socially close. People were kind of like, that's weird. Because track number 11 is Honey. This song might be the worst song in her discography. I gave it a 5 out of 10. That was me being nice. This song was like, what is even going on? This one was interesting. I did not like it. It sounded like every other song on the album, and it was way too slow. Taylor is famous for her use of her bridges in songs, and like literally on this album, there was not one notable bridge. If there even was one in a song. Honey was literally, I think, the worst listen I have had, like, ever. The whole song is about her not wanting to be called Honey, and then at the end she goes, "You can call me Honey." What? Like, did not like that song. That song needs to be, like, removed. Track number 12 is The Life of a Showgirl featuring Sabrina Carpenter. I thought this was a good closing track for the album. I definitely do think that this song almost would have been better as the opening track of the album, because I think that it does kind of push this idea and this motif that we thought the album was going to go on, like kind of this world that we thought the album was going to be based on, but it doesn't happen until the very end of the album. A single could have been the music video, could have been the opening track, but I think that this song really led what we thought the album was going to be like, what Taylor was kind of showing us the album was going to be like. It was very slow. I said I did not like the claps, but again, I thought it was a good closing track, like, for the album. I think it was a good closing track just because it was so, like, kind of full circle for the whole album to be on, and I think that it closed everything up, but I also think that this track could have opened everything up. This was just a transitional track. I really liked at the end kind of the tribute to the Eras Tour where she's saying thank you to all the dancers. To have a Taylor feature is pretty rare. Like, I would say you probably have to be kind of up there to have a feature with her. And the last features have been amazing. I mean, Fortnite was amazing. Florida was amazing. Exile was amazing. Snow on the Beach was a good song. The feature might have not been the best, but it was a great song. But I felt like this one, Sabrina just kind of faded into the background. I don't know who's, this was, but it was like, it wasn't memorable. She didn't have like a memorable part or a memorable verse. It was just kind of like thrown into the background and just kind of thrown on the album. I gave this song at a first listen a 7 out of 10. I would probably not listen to it again or add it to my playlist. And I just think throughout this entire album, it was just missing, like, one too many things. There was just something missing from it. There was a magic missing from it that all four other albums have. The world was very incoherent. The lyrics are very two-dimensional. It was kind of a gross representation of Taylor as herself. I do not believe that Taylor is a bad person. I think she's an amazing human being. But this album kind of damaged my image of her. Kind of damaged my image of her as a person, because she's saying all these things and she's doing all these things, and it's like, what do you actually mean? Who are you actually? I am seeing the movie tonight. I've heard that the movie is better than the album. It's kind of like a more pieced together documentary style of how it was made. I am excited to see it. Maybe it will change my perspective a little bit. Maybe it will educate me more about her vision as an artist. I'm excited to see it. I'm Hudson Dane. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. I have my other music related videos and my short films linked right here. Thank you for watching.